Good morning and welcome to our Sunday Dharma service, and a special welcome to anyone joining us for the first time. Just a note, the schedule on the front was wrong. We don't have Dharma reflection session afterwards today. We have the movie matinee, so if you can stay for that, that'd be great. We will begin with the ringing of the conch shell, followed by the chanting of Jusege. You can chant while following along on the screen or in the purple service book on page 93.
Shah 書店におうちにょけなまんなぶなまんなぶなまんなぶなまんなぶなまんなぶなまんなぶがにしくどくよのせいさいどんぼないしんおじょナマンダツナマンダツナマンダツナマンダツナマンダツナマンダツナマンダツナマンダツ。
We will now have the reading of Three Treasures and Sankyemon.
Please join me with hands together as we recite the three treasures. Hard is it to receive a human form. Now we have received it. Difficult is it to hear the Buddha Dharma. Now we hear it. If we do not receive awakening in this life, in what life shall we do so? Let us reverently take refuge together in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. Together with all beings, may we attain the great way of enlightenment, awakening to the supreme intent of the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. Together with all beings, may we enter the storehouse of Dharma, acquiring wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. Together with all beings, may we become united at the great assembly, being free of all bondage. Hard is it to encounter the supreme, profound, and wondrous Dharma, even in 100,000 million kalpa. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true intent of the Tathagata. Sankyemon. Ninjin ukegatashi, ima sudeni uku. Buppo kikigatashi, ima sudeni kiku. Konomi konjo ni mukatte dosezunba, さらにいずれの章に向かってかこの身をどせん。大衆もろともに指針に参謀に消えし立て祭るべし。自ら仏に消えし立て祭る。まさに願わくは衆生とともに大道体現して無常よ起こさん。自ら法に消えし立て祭る。まさに願わくは衆生とともに深く共造に入りて知恵海のごとくならん。自ら僧に消えし立て祭る。まさに願わくは衆生とともに大衆を通りして一切無下ならん。無常人人未明の法は百千万号にもあようことかたし。我今検問し従事することを得たり、願わくは如来の真実義を下し立て祭らん。ナモアミダ仏、ナマンダブ、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダブ、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダブ、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダブ、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダブ、ナマンダ仏。
Reverend Umezu will now deliver her Dharma message.
I invite you to please put your hands together as I read a passage written by Venerable Shinran from Shoshin Nembutsuge. Evil people of extremely heavy karma should simply say the Buddha name. Even though I too am within the embrace of Amida, I cannot see it because my eyes are hindered by afflictions. Nevertheless, great compassion constantly, tirelessly illumines me. Naman doubts, naman doubt, naman doubts, naman doubts. Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Good. It's warm, huh? It's already warm. Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us to be here to listen to the Buddha Dharma today. And if anyone is joining us for the first time, welcome. We're happy to have you here. The passage that I've just read, as I mentioned, is a stanza from a gatha written by Venerable Shinran called Gatha on Nembutsu of Correct Faith or Correct Entrusting. In Japanese, we call this Shoshin Nembutsuge. This gatha is what we chant here once a month on Saturdays when you hear that we have a Shoshinge chanting service. This stanza appears in the portion of the gatha which Venerable Shinran is praising the teaching of Master Genshin, who was a prominent monk in Japan who lived several hundred years before Venerable Shinran. And this stanza is actually a quote that is attributed to Master Genshin. This great and respected monk was the one who was calling himself an evil person who has extremely heavy karma and was admitting that even though he knows that Amida is unconditionally embracing him, he could not always recognize it because of his afflictions of ignorance and cravings that hindered his spiritual eyes. He was also acknowledging that even though he cannot see it, he has deep gratitude that no matter what, the great compassion of Amida was never stopping and always illuminating him with wisdom, and it never stopped embracing him. By quoting this passage and keeping the subject of the self, this I, Venerable Shinran was essentially making Master Genshin's words his own. That is, Venerable Shinran shared the sentiments of Master Genshin regarding his relationship with Amida Buddha. Through this passage, we are being taught that both Master Genshin and Venerable Shinran recognized how deep and heavy their own ignorance, cravings, and attachments ran through their own hearts and minds. And for such people as themselves, who did not have the conditions to attain true wisdom on their own, they recognized that the best practice for them and others like them was to simply recite the Buddha name, Namo Amida Butsu. They also recognized that although they knew that Amida Buddha is this wisdom and compassion of true reality and was already embracing them and accepting them for who they were, they admitted, regrettably, that they did not always recognize this compassionate activity working in their lives. And they could not live a life that was fully in accord with Buddha's wisdom because of the hindrance of their afflictions. Perhaps paradoxically, because they also knew that Amida's great compassion never stopped illuminating them with this wisdom, even though they could not always recognize what Amida was doing for them, their deep gratitude and heart of entrusting towards Amida was able to be firmly established. The brutally honest assessment of these individuals might sound a little bit extreme for us today, but to help us understand what these sages were expressing, I would like to share a couple of stories with you today. This first story is something that I heard from a minister when I was young, and it has stuck with me since that time, since elementary school. This minister recounted a time when he was craving a sandwich. So he decided he was going to go to the deli and get a sandwich for lunch. After looking at the menu, he decided the roast beef sandwich sounded the best. So he ordered that. The deli made a sandwich, he received his food, and excitedly took it home to eat it. When he got home, he unwrapped his sandwich, he took a big bite, and then he was immediately disappointed. The sandwich, he said, tasted disgusting, totally not what he was expecting. But he ordered the sandwich, and he didn't want to waste it, so he tried to continue eating it. But after he nibbled on it for a bit more, he thought, man, this sandwich just doesn't taste right. So he peeked and he opened the sandwich. And he was like thinking, well, maybe something has gone bad inside the sandwich. Maybe it looks funny. When he opened it up, he discovered there was no roast beef inside. It was ham. That explained everything. And after he realized it was a ham sandwich, he said it was the best ham sandwich that he had ever eaten. Because of his strong expectation based on his literal food craving and his desire, Sensei was not able to easily sense or acknowledge what he was really eating. He had just considered it disgusting and wanted to just, he didn't enjoy it. His expectations were a juicy, tasty roast beef sandwich. And because what he was given didn't match his own expectations, he had negative judgmental thoughts and feelings of disappointment. But once it was made clear to him that the sandwich he received was never roast beef, his feelings of disappointment towards the sandwich changed. He was able to come to appreciate the sandwich and enjoy it for what it actually was, this ham sandwich. My second story is a recent personal experience that is similar to the one Sensei had. There is a new movie that was recently released just this past week in the theaters called Masters of the Universe. Has anybody heard of it? Yeah, seen the commercials maybe? Masters of the Universe, for those of you who might not know, is a storyline from the 1980s, and it's based on action figures by Mattel that feature primary characters He-Man and Skeletor. It was a Saturday morning cartoon and was also made into a live-action movie in the 80s. And since then, the cartoon has been remade and reimagined over the years. And now there is this new movie. These cartoon characters and their toys were very important to me when I was young. So when I heard this movie was coming out, I got very excited. And of course, I have my own attachments to these characters and to what I hope this movie would be, right? So I have my own thoughts and feelings, hopes, expectations. I hoped when I watched it, it would feel nostalgic and bring me back to my happy feelings that I had when I was a child. Also, because I love the characters so much, I had an idea of how they should be portrayed and how the plot should go in order to make what I would consider a good movie. I bought my ticket to see the movie the night before it was officially released. And I went, nobody else wanted to watch with me, so I went by myself, and I was very disappointed. There were aspects of the movie that I appreciated overall, but the tone of the movie and the way the characters were portrayed, among some other things, it didn't align with what I was hoping for, what I was expecting. I had many judgments, many judgments. And after complaining to some friends about it and Marie, I was able to calm down and think about the movie. And I thought about this ham sandwich story. And I decided maybe I should not just write off this movie and give it a chance again in the future. And it just so happened that another friend wanted to watch the movie and needed someone to go with. So I went with him. Yes, I saw a movie twice in the same week. So now that I knew what the movie was, I was able to go in with low expectations or no expectations about what this movie was. And I ended up really enjoying this movie. I was able to come to appreciate it for what it was and not for what I expected it to be. In both of these examples, feelings of disappointment as well as negative thoughts came about because of having expectations and preconceived notions about something due to my craving of wanting something to go the way that I wanted it to go, in the way that I considered it good, or the way Sensei considered it good. Within this was the desire for our self-centered hopes to be fulfilled and negative thoughts and feelings that were coming from out of our aversions of not wanting something to be a certain way. So these expectations and preconceived notions we have are always getting in the way of us being able to accept things as they are. We always, well, I won't say always, but we often tend to want things to happen on our own terms. And we are often unable to or unwilling to see things on their own terms. But this ultimately causes us confusion and anguish. These two examples of the sandwich and the movie are trivial worldly problems. But these are the same afflictions that get in the way of us being able to be touched by the dynamic wisdom and compassion of true reality that is Amida. Amida is compassionate wisdom that is constantly working to illuminate true reality to us. The reality of existence, which is as it isness, things just as they are, and the reality of our own inner hearts. It embraces us and illuminates us with this compassionate wisdom so that we can all be liberated from samsara and ultimately reach nirvana. Even though we can hear this and may know this, because of the hindrances of our deep and heavy karmic afflictions, we cannot easily accept true reality that is being shown to us. Nor is it easy to accept Amida's vow as it is. Instead of accepting the universal vow and universal truth as it is, we continue to rely on our own judgments and hope that our self-centered expectations and preconceived judgments of life will come to fruition. For example, Buddha teaches that all things are transient in nature, always changing, and will come to an end. Maybe after a long while, maybe after a short time. Nobody knows. And this is all dictated by myriads of inconceivable karmic conditions. But I think all of us continue to have that expectation that we can hold on to our material belongings, our friends, our family, our youth, our looks, our health, our life, etc. We wish to hold on to all these things forever. And we wish to control all of these aspects of not just our own lives, but the world that we live in. We are happy if change happens to go our way, and we get sad and angry when it doesn't. We cannot easily accept change as change, and moreover, we do not like to face the reality of our own impending death, treating it as something taboo and negative that we should avoid thinking about or talking about at all costs. Another example is that even though we are taught that Amida comes from the true and real realm of as-it-isness and is trying to teach us about things as they are, because of our ignorance and cravings, we cannot see or accept things or experiences just as they are. We constantly have expectations, judgments, preconceived thoughts, considering things good when they are convenient or beneficial for us, and when they align with our personal karmic worldview. And we call it bad when something is not convenient, not beneficial to us, and don't align with our personal karmic worldview. And then we become tightly attached to these thoughts and feelings, as if this is the only way. It is because of these attachments that we cannot accept that our ignorance and attachments are what make us what we call evil in the context of Buddhism. Because our karmic afflictions run so deep within us and have amassed so much over time, they've amassed so much that they're heavy, it is extremely difficult for us to put them aside to the degree that we need to in order to be liberated from samsara. So, what hope is there for people such as ourselves, such as myself? Master Genshin and Venerable Shinran taught that for such people, we simply need to recite and entrust in the Buddha name, Namo Amida Butsu. This is the prescribed practice for people with this deep and heavy karma. When we are able to do this, and when we are able to come to know the true and real sincere heart of Amida, why Amida established the vow in the first place, which is to realize who Amida has resolved to save, we will come to know that the vow was established for me, myself alone. I am the one who has deep afflictions of self-benefiting expectations and preconceived judgments that make me unable to see and accept true reality. We may intellectually know that Amida is reaching out to us, but we continue to live our lives not in accord with universal truth reality, but rather in accord with our own expectations and judgments, because we cannot easily change this deeply conditioned heart and mind, which we have had since the beginningless beginning. Because we are like this, Amida, who truly understands our condition of having deep and heavy karmic afflictions and are so steeped and mired in it, Amida constantly, tirelessly continues to shine compassionate wisdom upon all of us, with the constant reminder that each of us are okay exactly as we are, deep and heavy karmic afflictions and all. But again, because of our expectations and judgments, preconceived judgments, we cannot see true reality. But because Amida knows that we cannot see truth reality, Amida is making itself known to us so that we can know that we are being seen, we are being understood, and we are being embraced and accepted for exactly what we are. And this compassion never stops embracing us with its light of wisdom. When we can realize what Amida is doing for us and what we are receiving, then, like Master Genshin and Venerable Shinran, a heart of deep gratitude and indebtedness towards Buddha will naturally arise within us. And a new type of acceptance of ourselves and our lives as they are can also be settled within us. Being settled about ourselves and our future nirvana in the Pure Land, perhaps we can be moved to be less attached to getting rid of our afflictions, but instead, we can be redirected, we can be moved to live an authentic life of fulfillment that deeply, gratefully entrusts in the great compassion, the great compassionate, sincere heart of Amida, and the wisdom light that constantly, tirelessly guides and embraces each and every one of us with all of our expectations and judgments, without any expectation and judgment. And with this heart of gratitude and entrusting towards Amida, as evil people with deep and heavy karma, we can then confidently, joyfully, and gratefully recite Namo Amida Butsu, taking refuge in this true and real, immeasurable wisdom and inconceivable compassion. Thank you very much for attending our Dharma service today and for allowing me to share my appreciation of the compassion of Amida with you today. Let's all continue to do our best to hear and reflect on Amida's great compassionate vow that tirelessly illumines us so that we can have an unwavering foundation on which to live our lives each and every day. I would now like to conclude my message by reading a letter written by Master Renyo, and I invite you to bow your heads or put your hands together in reverence. Lay people in the latter age who lack wisdom should deeply rely on Amida Buddha with singleness of heart, entrusting themselves to the Buddha single-mindedly and unwaveringly for their emancipation. Without turning their thoughts to other matters, however deep and heavy their evil karma may be, Amida Tathagata unfailingly saves them. This is the essence of the 18th vow that assures our birth in the Pure Land through the Nembutsu. Once our heart is thus settled, we should say the Nembutsu, whether awake or asleep, for as long as we live. Humbly and respectfully. Mandai muchi no zaike shijum no nanyo tarang tomogara kokoro itotsu ni shite Amida Butto fukaku tanomimairasete sarani yo no kata e kokoro furazu isshin ni konibu tasuke tamae tomo-san shujoma tatoi zaigo wa jinju nari tomo kanarazu mida nyorai wa sukui washimasu beshi kore sunawachi dai 18の念仏の上の世がの心なり核のごとく献上しての上には寝ても覚めても命のあらん限りは称名念仏すべきものなりアナカシコアナカシコナモアミダブツナマンダブツナマンダブナマンダブツナマンダブナマンダブツナマンダブナマンダブ
Thank you, Reverend Umezu, for your Dharma message. We will now have the reading of Ryogemon.
Invite you to please join me, Gassho, as we read together Ryogemon, words of understanding of our tradition. We rely upon Amida Buddha with our whole heart for the enlightenment in the life to come, abstaining from all sundry practices and teachings, and giving up the trust in our imperfect view. There is no doubt that the assurance of enlightenment comes at the very moment we entrust, and we recite the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, in joy and gratitude for the Buddha's compassion. We also acknowledge gratefully the benign benevolence of our founder and succeeding masters who have led us to live in this profound teaching. And we do now endeavor to follow throughout our lives the way laid down for us. Ryoge Shutsugon. Moro moro no zogyo zashu jiriki no kokoro o furistete. Isshin ni Amida nyorai. 我らが今度の一大事の御所、 御助け将来へと頼み申して候。頼む一年の時、往生一条御助け事情と存じ。この上の称名はご恩報者と存じ、喜び申し候。この御断り弔問申し訳候こと、ご解散承認ご出世のご恩、次第相乗の前時式の朝からざるご関係のご恩と、ありがたく存じ候。この上は定めを課せられる恩をきて、一語限り守り申すべく候。ナモアミダ仏、ナマンダブ、ナマンダブツ、ナマンダブ、ナマンダブツ、ナマンダブ、ナマンダブツ、ナマンダブツ、ナマン。
Okay, we now have some announcements. We will be having our Obon Hatsubon Dharma service on July 12th at 10 a.m., followed by an Obon service in the Nakotsudo. Our guest speaker will be Reverend George Matsubayashi. We have Obon dance practice starting soon. It's going to be from June 23rd to July 16th on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It'll be in the parking lot from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., and everyone is welcome to join and learn all the dances. We also have Obon Memorial Lanterns. So it's going to be a lantern with the wisteria crest and a tag with your loved one's Buddhist name below. We have order forms in the back, and please order them by July 19th. We have Wednesday Dharma classes. We're focusing on poems written by Master Shinran. These are led by Reverend Takata via Zoom, and they're on Wednesday at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. The next one will be on June 17th, and the topic is 2 kinds of Dharma body. There is a suggested donation, and you can contact the office if you're interested in joining those classes. We also have a Saturday Dharma class, also led by Reverend Takata via Zoom. These are on Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., and the next one will be on June 20th. The topic is Light of Amida Buddha. We have monthly Shoshinge chanting, followed by Buddhism Beyond Mindfulness. However, this month we won't be having the chanting on June 20th. We'll still be having Buddhism Beyond Mindfulness, but it'll be via Zoom only. We have a Sunday matinee, so we're having it today. The movie is Nuremberg. We'll be having some popcorn and other refreshments, and then we'll watch the movie and discuss any Buddhist themes that we saw in the movie. So everyone is welcome to join. We have some save the dates for our centennial celebrations. On Saturday, November 14th, we'll be having an affirmation ceremony. So if you're interested in receiving a Buddhist name, please contact the office for that. And then on Sunday, we'll be having our actual centennial celebration. We have bingo at the temple once a month. Usually it's the 3rd Friday of every month. However, since we have Obon this month, we'll be having bingo at Obon only. So no bingo this month on Friday. We also have our yard sale coming up. It's on Saturday, June 27th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. I'm not sure about the parking situation, but I'll check with Connie when she returns. So everyone is welcome to join that too. I also have some centennial items, so we're starting to receive our centennial items. So one item is a hat. This hat, it's a black hat with our centennial logo on it in gold and yellow thread. We also have some stickers. We have a sticker with our temple's logo on it in red and white. We have a sticker with the centennial logo. And we also have a Bodhi leaf sticker with the theme of our centennial, hearing and appreciating the Buddha's wish. So that concludes all of the announcements. We do have refreshments afterwards, and then the movie in the Kaikon. Sensei?